welcome to another video. This is the July wrap up, and yes, Siri is in here for right now. I don't know how long she'll last, but she wants to be in here, but she's probably mad because this is her spot. Sorry, babe. So, in the month of July, I read 2 audiobooks, 4 ebooks, 2 physical books, 1 novella, and 3 manga for a total of 12 books. So, let's get started. So, to start the month off, I read Reckless by Lauren Roberts. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I haven't been able to shut up about how excited I was for this book. So, this is a sequel to Powerless. So I'll give the description for Powerless since I obviously can't talk about what this book is specifically about. Hi, baby. So basically, Powerless is a fantasy where this kingdom had this plague, and as a result, everyone develops like abilities like speed or like walking through walls or whatever. And if you don't have a power, you're an ordinary, and the kingdom is getting rid of all of ordinaries. So the main character, Peyton, does not have a power. She is powerless. And they do these trials every like 5 years or something where like teenagers compete, and it's like a thing of honor, and she ends up competing in these trials even though she does not have a power. She pretends to. And yeah, there's like a rebellion. There's like a lot of stuff happening, and the book ends kind of wild. So I was really looking forward to this book, and there's been a lot of mixed reviews on this book. Someone I saw, I don't know who, summed it up really well by saying that these are romantasy books, but Powerless was more heavy on the fantasy, whereas Reckless is more heavy on the romance. I also saw that the author said that this is kind of like a bridge between the first book and the third book. So it's setting up a lot for the third book, and it's kind of like a take a breather before you get to like the action of the final book. So I understand the bad reviews of this book, but I actually liked it. I totally understand the reviews. It was like a bit slower than the first book. There wasn't much plot happening. I can see here and there where it was sprinkled that it's like setting up for the next book, but I just really loved the love in this book. I really love Peyton and her love interest. I feel like it's not a spoiler to say his name, but technically there's 2 guys in the first book, so do with that what you will. I really love the tension between them and the like enemies like esque. I ate it up. I loved it so much. I was tabbing the book, but only like romance scenes that I like, so I don't know if you can see my tabs. And I wasn't marking everything, just the ones that like really stood out to me. But like, I actually really like this book. I don't think I liked it as much as the first one, but I ate it up, and I am looking forward to the third one. And Siri is ready to be let out of the room now. Go on, girl. Are you going? Okay, bye. So I read this the very beginning of the month because it came out like July 2nd, I think. And I kind of forgot where I stood on the rating because I gave Powerless, the first book, 4.5, and I just was sitting between a 4 and a 4.5 for this book because it's like, you know? I did really like it. I don't know if I liked it as much as the first one, but I did really love the romance, and the ending of this book had my mouth hanging open. And a lot of people said they saw it coming because of like X thing that happened in the book. They were like, oh, well, of course it ends this way. My brain didn't go there for some reason. If you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know why, but my brain just didn't go there. So I was like, and the last line of this book, oh my god. I reread the ending multiple times. I'm so excited for the next one. I'm so excited. So yeah, that was the first physical book I finished this month. And then I think I read Butcher and Blackbird by Brianne Weaver. And I've been really looking forward to reading this one for a while because it is a romance between 2 serial killers. That sounds perfect in my opinion. I love romance. I love thrillers. Like, that just sounds so fun. And they're serial killers that kill serial killers. So they're like morally gray because they're murderers, but they're murdering people who murder others. So like, they're taking a life but saving like a lot in the long run. So morally gray characters, right? And you do get both of their points of view, which is nice. And I don't know why I didn't think about this going into the book, but it is a dark romance. And I mean that as in the sex scenes are not for me. Obviously the topic is dark, which is like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the gruesomeness. I'm fine with the dark topics. I'm fine with the dark past they have. Like, all of that I was fine with. But once they got to the sex scenes, I was like, oh, this is dark romance. So I could have done without those, but I understand why these people would have scenes like that. So keep that in mind. There are also a lot of trigger warnings for this book. It is a page and a half at the beginning of this book. So do check those out if you're someone who gets triggered by certain things. Like I said, there are serial killers, so there's a lot of gruesome things in this book. I can put the trigger warnings on the screen, so you don't have to look it up. You can just read the screen. But yeah, I thought they were like really cute together. I'm trying to remember my thoughts while I was reading the book. This is what I get for not writing stuff down as I'm reading. I really like being in their heads and seeing what they thought about each other, knowing what the other one thought about them and how they were like just friends, you know, for a lot of the book, even though they definitely had feelings for each other. I did really like them together. I did really like the writing of this book, and I liked the mixture of the romance with the like gruesome aspects of serial killing. I think the author did a good job. It wasn't perfect in my opinion, but I do want to continue the series because this is going to be a trilogy, I think, because the guy in this book, Rowan, has 2 brothers, and I think each of them gets a book. So the second book's already out. It's called Leather and Lark. But yeah, I think I decided on 4 stars for this book because I really liked it, but you know, it's not perfect. There's things I definitely didn't like about it, but yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. And then the novella I read was Killjoy by Holly Jackson, and this is in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. This is like a prequel to the trilogy. It's very little. It's just like a cute little novella. And basically the plot of this is it's the main character from the series, Pip, is getting together with her friends and they're doing a murder mystery dinner. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like a role-playing game where you get these little booklets and you're told what character you're playing and you're working together to try to solve who in the group is a murderer. My family has played them, which is why I thought this was like so fun to read. So they do it different ways. Sometimes you know up front you're the killer. Sometimes you don't know you're the killer until like later in your booklet because you're only reading a part at a time. Sometimes the murder happens at the beginning of the game. Sometimes one of the characters ends up murdered halfway through and you don't know who it's going to be. It's actually really fun to do. And I would like to do one with my friend group in the next couple months because I think it'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, I could really resonate with this book being that I grew up doing murder mystery dinners with my family. And so it was really cute, really like seeing Pip before the Pip she was in the trilogy was really fun because obviously she went through a lot in the trilogy. If you don't know what Good Girls Guide to Murder is about, she does a senior project investigating a murder that happened in her town where this teenage girl was supposedly murdered by her boyfriend and then he committed suicide. And so the town was just like, oh yeah, he did it, like case closed. And she's like, I don't think so. So she investigates that and uncovers like a lot of stuff in their town. So she goes through a lot. And so seeing her in this book, like before she goes through all that was very interesting. And seeing how at the end of the book, how she decides to do that as her project, because going into the book, she didn't know what she was doing for her senior project. And by the end of the book, she did know. Maybe that's a spoiler, but it's also like a prequel. So you do know what happens after when you read the other ones. Anyway, it was cute. I didn't like love it as much as the trilogy because I feel like there was like, it felt like she was trying really hard to place this book in time by like little things where like her dad's dropping her off and he's like, hey, let the dog out when you get home. Or he's like, hey, remember so-and-so's dad's picking you up. And like they just reference all these other characters. And if you've read the series, you know why they reference those things. And it just felt like it was forced into it. It didn't feel really natural. It felt like she was like, hey, this is how you know when this book took place by the characters I'm bringing up right now. I decided on 4 stars, I think, for this, which Good Girls Guide to Murder, I don't remember which books I gave 4.5 and which ones I gave 5, but it's like a 5-star series for me. This is a really cute novella. I really liked being back in this world and seeing Pip some more. And yeah, it was cute. So I read 4 ebooks in July, and 3 of them were in a series, and they were rereads from my childhood, and they're very silly. And I have this distinct memory of being at a Scholastic book fair in like middle school and being made fun of because I liked these books. Because they look and sound silly, but there's just something about them that makes me love them a lot. And I'm not gonna comment on how good the writing is because I was living through nostalgia. Like I was in it for the nostalgia. But it is, I don't know if the series has a name. Yeah, so the series is called Fins. And then the first book is called Forgive My Fins. The second book is Fins Are Forever. And the third book is just for Fins. I don't know if you can guess, but it's about a mermaid. So basically, it's about this mermaid named Lily, short for Water Lily. And in this world, there's like multiple kingdoms in the sea. Her dad is the king of their kingdom, so she is a princess. And when she's like 14, she decides to go live on land with her human aunt because her mom was a human, but her mom died when she was a baby, so she never got to know her mom. She doesn't really know much about the human world, so she wanted to experience it as a teenager before she took over as, you know, ruler of her kingdom. And so she's like a senior in high school now, and in this world, mermaids bond for life, and they bond by kissing. It's such a YA book. And like, when I say YA, like middle grade YA, they bond by kissing, and it's for life, and you can like undo it, but you have like a time limit for undoing it. And she's in love with like the swim team dude, like the popular guy that's like the best swimmer, and his name's Brody. Okay. And she has this next door neighbor, Quince, that's annoying. You can see where I'm going with this. So she thinks she's kissing Brody one night, but it's actually Quince kissing her. And so now she's bonded to her annoying neighbor. And the first book is about her trying to get rid of that bond and get Brody to fall in love with her. And also no one like in her human life knows she's a mermaid except for her aunt, obviously. And yeah, so it's a really silly book. And if you read the description of the book on Goodreads, I understand why people think it's ridiculous, but you know, I didn't need to be made fun of. Like, people like what they like. I was like 11. What 11-year-old that grew up on The Little Mermaid, Aquamarine, and H2O wouldn't love this series? You tell me. But anyway, so yeah, I have reread the series before. It was one of my favorites when I was like in middle school because I always loved mermaids growing up. And it's just really cute. Like, I just really like the writing. I feel like the main character is very hot-headed and can be very childish, but like also she's a teenager. And I know teenagers think they're grown up, but you're really not. You are a child when you're a teenager. I think back to when I was a teenager, I was a child. And so there's like times when I feel like she's being too dramatic, but like also she's 17. So, but yeah, so I read all 3 books this month. They were all rereads, and going into the series, I distinctly remember the first one really well. I remember the second one vaguely. I remember not a single detail of the third one, and rereading it, I kind of get why I blocked it out, because it's like kind of boring, because it's a lot like she's doing a lot in the like mer world politically, like going around to the kingdoms and like trying to get them to all agree to something, and it's very like political and kind of boring when you're like in the book for like fun mermaid romance. So I understand why I blocked that one from my memory. It's not bad, but like even reading it as an adult, I was just like, you know, the other ones are more fun. So, but yeah, it's just a cute little series. Like I said, I like it because of nostalgia. I don't actually know. If I read it for the first time as an adult, I don't know how I would feel. But reading it as an adult, knowing that I loved it as a child, it was a lot of fun. And I'm glad I reread it. Very summery, you know? And then the other ebook I read in July was Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is her YA rom-com that came out last year. I don't remember when this came out. This one's about chess, obviously. And a lot of people didn't like this book, so that's why I've been putting off reading it for so long, but I finally did read it. And I forgot the characters' names. Wow, I'm reading the description of the book, and they went all out with the chess puns. Anyway, it's about the main character's name is Mallory. And she grew up playing chess with her dad, but basically something happened and it kind of like chess kind of like ruined her family. And so she stopped playing chess, and now she is like graduated from high school. She's working like a dead-end job, like taking care of her family. But her friend begs her to play this like charity chess match or whatever. So she's like, whatever. And she goes there and she ends up playing the #1 world champion in chess, Nolan, King Killer Sawyer. And she beats him. And then he's like obsessed with her after that. And not like in a creepy way. Like he is just so intrigued by her and her mind and the way she thinks that he's like, it's like love at first sight. He's like, he wants to see her again. He wants to play with her again. He like doesn't understand why she loved chess. Like he thinks she's a brilliant player. She ends up getting back into chess for XYZ reasons. And yeah, that's what the book is about. It's like a romance between 2 chess players. It was cute. I definitely liked, you know, how much he was into her, you know, like guy falls first, guy falls harder. It was like very, I don't know, it was like very cute. Like I really liked it. It was very much a slow burn, like so slow burn that I felt like it wasn't a romance book. I felt like it was just a book about this girl playing chess. Like, that's how slow burn it was. Nothing really happened until like I swear, like 70 or 80%. I know it's fiction, but I don't know if this happens to like you, but sometimes when I'm reading fiction, if it's too outlandish, it just like takes me out of the book. And this book was very outlandish. Like, yes, she grew up playing chess, but she took like a 4-year break from chess. And you're telling me she beat the #1 world champion after not playing chess for 4 years? You're telling me she's gonna win like every championship she's in after not playing chess for 4 years? Unlikely. That's just unlikely. And it just took me out. It just took me out. But it was a cute book, and I did like them together. And the end of the book definitely had me like giggly, and I reread it. I reread the epilogue because I was just like, ah. And it made me want to learn to play chess, which makes my boyfriend happy and also not happy because he's been trying to teach me chess for a couple years and I haven't been wanting to learn. And now I do want to learn. And he's like happy because we can play chess together, but he's also like, now? But yeah, I have been playing chess. He showed me an app that I downloaded, and I've been learning how to play on the app because you can do little lessons and then you can like play against like a little computer, and it like helps you. Because the piece, I don't know if you know how to play chess. The pieces are all different and it's kind of hard to keep track, but the little app will show you like, hey, you can move here, here, here. And I'm like, thank you, app. Because it would take me a long time to remember which piece goes where. But this isn't a video about chess. It's not. Anyway, this book was cute. I think I gave it 4 stars. And yeah, I'm going to continue reading Allie Hazelwood's books. Every single one. I'm just like, yep, I'm going to keep reading them. So there's that. Anyway, audiobooks. I only read 2 in July. The first book was Legend, and I had never read this series, even though I know it was like a popular YA series when I was really into the reading YA, but I decided to give it a chance, and I actually really liked it. It is a sci-fi book about this city, you know, it once was the US and now it's the Republic. Every dystopian book is the same. It's like the 2 main characters, like the one girl, I don't remember her name. June. Her name is June. So June is 15 years old and she is like a prodigy of the military. Like, she's been raised and schooled and trained to be in the military. And then the other main character's name is Day, and he is like the #1 wanted criminal in this city. He's 15. And so June's brother, also in the military, is killed, and Day becomes a suspect. So the book is like her trying to get revenge on him, but he is trying to protect his family, and it's a dystopian world. And I actually was really, really into it. I really liked it. I feel like it's really hard for dystopian books to be good because so many of them are just like based on other dystopian books, and it's like, you know, like Hunger Games got popular and everyone was like, we need to get on this bandwagon, and a lot of them did it badly. I feel like this one was pretty good. I'm definitely interested in continuing the series, and I do plan on reading the second book in August because, yeah, I really liked it. There's romance in it. It's very, very, like, very on the back burner. Unlike a lot of dystopian books have the romance on the forefront. This is very much on the back burner. Maybe it'll be more prominent in later books, but as of the first one, it's like sprinkled in there, and I like that. So yeah, the last audiobook I listened to of 2 was Daisy Jones and the Six. I finally read it and I absolutely loved it. And I'm someone that doesn't like to read out of my comfort zone, which is why it took me so long to read this book, because I know it's written in like interview style, and I was just like, I don't want to read it. It's like literary fiction, blah. But people said the audiobook's really good because it has like a cast playing it. And typically I don't like audiobooks like that, but I gave this one a try. I decided to listen to it on Spotify. I don't typically listen to audiobooks on Spotify, but the wait for this one was like too long from the library, so I was like, I'll just do Spotify. And I loved it. Having different people, like different actors, read the voices made them feel so real. They felt like real characters, and I was so attached to them and wanting to know their story. Wait, let me tell you what the book's about in case you don't know. Daisy Jones and the Six is basically like kind of like a documentary type story where someone sat down and interviewed members of this very popular rock and roll band from the 70s. So it's like inspired by Fleetwood Mac. So like think of like Fleetwood Mac and that kind of vibe. And so the book is about like them getting together and their rise to fame, and there's drinking and there's drugs and there's girls and there's rock and roll. And I love this book so much. Like, when I tell you I could not stop listening to it, I was like, hell, I have 5 minutes right now. I'm gonna listen to 5 minutes of this book. Like, I was so attached to these characters and their story, and I couldn't wait to finish it. And I cried at the end of this book. I loved it so much. I don't rate audiobooks because I feel like since I'm not an auditory learner, I like miss things. But I would give this one 5 stars if I rated audiobooks. It was phenomenal. It was so well written and so well like executed in the audiobook, and definitely listen to the audiobook. And I haven't started the show yet. I plan on starting that soon. I'm gonna get my mom to watch it with me, so we're like finishing up the show and then we have to start that one. But I'm so excited because I love this book so much and I already want to reread it. The other 3 books I read this month were manga, and so that was volume 2, 3, and 4 of One Piece. And One Piece is a manga about this character named Monkey D. Luffy, and he wants to be a pirate. And so he is gathering a crew so they can sail to find the One Piece, which is the ultimate like pirate treasure. I don't watch much TV, so like my friend group loves One Piece, and I just wasn't getting very far in the anime, so they were like, hey, read the manga. And I was like, okay. So I'm reading the manga, and there's over 100 volumes, so it'll take me a long time, but I've read 4 in basically the past month, because I read the first volume at the very end of June, and I read 3 volumes in July. Basically, my plan for getting through these, not that you asked, is to read one every time I finish like a physical book. And by physical book, I just mean like my main read. Because if I'm reading on my Kindle, it's like my main read that I sit down and read for hours at a time. My main read, I will read one in between my main reads. So the novella didn't really count because that's so short, but I read Reckless, Butcher and Blackbird, and Check and Mate as my 3 main reads of July, and I read 3 of these because I read one after each book. So I'm doing great on my goal. It's gonna be hard for me to keep reviewing these because I basically have the same thought for all of them, but I really like how close the anime follows the books, because so far I'm not caught up to where I am in the anime. So I do know all the storyline that's happening, but it's literally like scene for scene, like shot for shot in some places. Like it follows it so well. It's so impressive. I am really enjoying reading it. I think that Luffy is really, really funny. I love reading his lines. And the manga has little things in between each chapter that the author put in there. So like right here, there's like a rough sketch. Right here is like the history on Vikings. Like he just does little things in between each chapter, which is like really fun to read. And the 4th one, he does like Q&A from fans in between each chapter, so that was also really fun because the author is like funny too. If you're someone who's hesitant to go into manga because you have to read it like differently, you adjust. Like the first volume I read, like I had a really hard time reading it because you read manga from back to front, from right to left. So like this is the front of the book and the spine's right here and the pages are right here, and this is the back of the book, and you start from the back and you read it like this. And as someone who's from America, reading American books my entire 25 years of life, it's a lot to adjust to, but even by the second one, I was like, I got the hang of it. So if you're hesitant to start manga because you worry it'll be hard to read, you'll adjust quickly and it's literally fine. I can read it at a decent speed now. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this and I can't wait to continue it. Like I said in my last video, I'm borrowing the box set from my friend. So I have quite a few volumes to go because this one has 23 in it. There are all the ones in this box set, 23. Like I said, there's over 100, so I have a lot to go, but I read the first 4, which I'm impressed with myself. I think I'm doing a really great job, and I can't wait to read more. So I think I've talked about all the books I read in July. I read a lot more than I normally do. Yeah, it looks like I talked about all of them. 12 is like a big number for me, but obviously it helped that 3 were manga and 1 was a novella. But I still think I don't know, I feel like I'm doing better with reading. I feel like for a while I just wasn't getting much read, and I feel like I did a lot better in July. And that, like, obviously numbers don't matter. Like, it does not matter how much you're reading. It matters that you're enjoying what you're reading. But as someone who really loves reading and who owns a lot of books that I need to read, it's like disheartening that I get to the end of the month and I'm like, I didn't really read much because I'm just like sad. I'm like, there's so much I could have read this month that I didn't read. And yeah, so I'm glad that I'm reading more. And my little bookcase of my 2024 reads is filling up. I have one more slot down here that I could fill before I have to shuffle it up to make more room. Because right now I have each compartment is like what I read that month. So like in January, there's only 2 books because I only read 2 physical books in January. I don't know. I really like seeing everything I read physically all in one place. It makes me happy. So, but it's kind of hard to reach these little sections down here now. I don't know. I don't know. I just like sitting and looking at my books. I know it's lame, but yeah. Anyway, I've been yapping so much, so let me just call it here. Yep, that's what I read in July. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll watch some more of my other videos. I hopefully will be doing a reading vlog in August because I did not do one in July, and I miss reading on camera and talking about it. So yeah, all right. Bye. I'm so annoying.